Theories of dreaming. Now, first off, we have Freud. Freud's theory is not the most prominent because it doesn't always happen. It can and it does happen sometimes, but it doesn't always happen. Freud's is the first theory. Freud's theory of wish fulfillment goes like this. It came from his belief that all dreams are potentially related to sexual wishes, and that all dream content is potentially related to sexual imagery. He thought the symbolism in dreams was a guiltless way for people to indulge in fulfilling sexual wishes. So, symbolism meaning they don't have to confront it directly on, but they can experience that. He described the manifest content of dreams as being what dreams seem to be about on the surface, and the latent content, though, what dreams are really about under the surface. Freud thought that anything in a dream that was elongated was symbolic for a penis, and anything with an opening symbolic for a vagina. Okay. Seem a little drastic to you? Well, I want you to imagine being a patient of Freud's and he asking you about your dreams over the past week and you saying, "No, I really didn't dream about anything significant. I remember dreaming about changing the oil in someone's car, but nothing really significant." Freud's eyebrows probably would have shot up and he would be scribbling frantically in his notepad. He would certainly think that the dipstick was symbolic for a penis and that the oil shaft symbolic for a vagina. And he would likely be the most interested in knowing whose car that was. So how does Freud's theory pan out? Research has validated that wish fulfillment can and does occur in dreaming, but it doesn't explain all of dreaming. In fact, most dreams do not likely involve wish fulfillment. Our next two theories apply to all dreaming. Information processing theory is by Cartwright. So the name you want to remember with this theory is Cartwright. Information processing theory states that dreams, like deep sleep and REM, help us to sift, sort, and organize information and memories. There's ample evidence for this theory. For instance, REM sleep increases after you've gone through a stressful period and after intense learning. So you would need it more than for that process. And REM deprivation especially harms memory. This means that if you can engage in a full night of good sleep after studying for an exam, before the exam, your memory for the material will be better. It also means that if you can spread your studying out over a few nights, all few with good sleep, right? Before the exam, you will be at your best. There's also ample evidence for our third theory, activation synthesis theory. And this one is by Hobson and McCarley. Hobson and McCarley. This theory states that neural activity during dreaming is accounted for by random firing of neurons. Random firing. So all these different thoughts, sensations, right? So it's accounted for by random neural firing and also the full-time job of the brain, which is coming up with perceptual hypotheses, remember, to make sense of the incoming stimuli. In this case, the random firing. Now, think about this. The higher cortex works to weave a coherent storyline from these random firings. Our brains are always involved in trying to make sense of things we experience. It's just doing its full-time job. Have you heard of or ever played this game where someone writes the first sentence of a story and then it gets passed around and people each add one more sentence? The story can end up just taking these bizarre twists, right? Yet the most skilled writers will try to add a sentence that actually ties all the previous information together and expands it in a logical way. Imagine the random neural firing in your brain when you're dreaming. Suppose that you got the smell of donuts and the visual image of a vampire, let's say, and the auditory sensation of a fire siren. Well, your brain's job would be to tie these together in a sensible narrative. Wow. Now, what about nightmares? When we come back in our next segment, the last segment, we are going to begin with nightmares.